This is the 80's Glam Metalcast, and today we talk to a Sunset Strip veteran, London singer Nadir D'Priest. We discuss London's latest release, Call That Girl. We talk past albums, famous past members, and the decline of Western Civilization 2. Check it out. Nadir, welcome to the 80's Glam Metalcast. How you doing tonight, sir?
Good, man. How you doing, Mike? Great to be here.
Great. Hey, I got to ask you, how's the weather in California?
Right now, it's a little overcasted. We have a lot of clouds and rain and water, so it keeps coming on and off. So we had quite a bit of rain coming in.
Well, in New York, it's about 20 degrees. It's kind of like a Russian winter.
No. Thank you.
So you guys put out a new album this year called Call That Girl. It's got some great hard rock and heavy metal tunes on it. Your unique voice is still intact. What do you want to tell the listeners about this album?
Well, the album, as I said, was recorded in Las Vegas, Nevada. We spent a few years working on it. It was recorded at Desert Moon Production Studios, which is owned by Corey, the Count Coker. You see him at Counting Cars. One of those great cars he's got. Well, he has an amazing recording studio, and we had the pleasure of recording there. And we've got an outstanding, acoustic drum sound, and we were just really happy to work there. Again, we took a little longer than we planned, but I think it worked out for the best because it wasn't a rush job. We weren't on a set date to record, unlike in the past. We always had labels behind going, well, you're going to have it by this time, which I go any further than that, and blah, blah, blah. So this time was self-produced, and, really I wasn't counting, the clock at the studio by the hour,
Yeah.
So that makes a big difference when you're recording your own album and your own productions, stuff like that. So yeah, man, it was great. We had a great time recording it. It's pretty classic sounding. No really crazy addition to it other than just a bunch of guys playing together, just like back in the day. So it was a lot of fun recording.
I got to say, for an independent album, I mean, the sound production is amazing. It really is.
Oh, I'm glad you liked it. Thank you so much. It was actually I got to work with a gentleman named Dennis Ward. He's actually from Texas, but he lives in Germany, and he basically did a great job with the mixers and stuff, and as far as the mastering and all that good stuff. We spent a lot of time back and forth on this thing, but to the final end of it, I thought it came out pretty good, so I'm glad you like it. Glad to hear that you noticed it.
So one song, we'll talk about a few of the songs. Call That Girl. This one, I got to let the listeners beware here. This is very catchy. It will get stuck in your head. It definitely has that late 80s, pop metal vibe, Dr. Feelgood, Permanent Vacation. That's the vibe I get from this song.
It's catchy, man. It's hooky. It's very funky, yet rock and roll, and the chorus is very sticky. And as a matter of fact, my friends over at the Whiskey of Buzzo, Michael and Jake and all the guys there, they were playing the record, and somebody played it, and they thought it was the phone going off. And somebody was yelling, "Hey, answer the phone, not knowing that it was actually a song going off. You know what I mean? It was very catchy, and so that was good to hear that it's kind of become, a little bit of a stick-on for people's head. That's what you want. That's the hook. You want that chorus to kick in.
No doubt. How about Metal Nations? That kind of reminds me of like old school London. You've got the heavy riffs. You got some screams in there. Yeah,
that's just to make sure that everyone knows that I can still deliver that hard and heavy metal stuff. I mean, we enjoy playing that. That actually is a song, has a little bit of a story. That song came from two songs that I co-wrote with the guys from you guys' side of the world there in New York. It's with a guy named Jack Frost. You know Jack Seven Witches.
Yes, I've heard of him. Yep.
Yeah, well, he actually him and I had worked on recording together, but we never really got together. And he had handed me some ideas and riffs and stuff. And at the end of it all, that's what we got right there. So Metal Nation is an excellent song. Very happy with the punchy sound and all those great vocals and drums and everything. It's really rock. It's American heavy metal, you know.
Oh, no doubt. Another one that caught my ears, especially I think because of the lyrics, was "Reach Up to the Skies." What's the story behind that one?
Well, I mean the lyrics are a little heavy, but to me it's just a message that I think that sometimes we kind of like sit in our own minds and we get depression and things in your mind that can sit and you tend not to do for yourself or others and nothing. You get behind, it could be alcohol, drugs, or anything like that. So, so I think that the message is that you got to reach and help somebody or help try to help someone, try to be kind to someone, if you ever, reach out to the skies. I think that's basically just the message saying, if you don't have an answer, look at the creator or the one that's far away from us that we can't reach and we can't see that apparently is going to come back and judge us. I think it has a whole lot of that religious factor in it. But it was just, a song that it's pretty intense for me. Yeah.
That's a great message. So let's jump back a little bit to Don't Cry Wolf. Now this is the album. This is the first album that I ever picked up by London, and I'm trying to remember if I bought it because the band looked cool on the cover, or if it was because of Decline of Western Civilization too. What are your memories of making that album?
Well, I think that when people saw the cover, they thought a light glam metal band, because it didn't look the part. The outfits for that album were very, how would you say, super duper glammy, super bright, But the band at that point in our lives, not counting, Not Stop Rock and Don't Cry Wolf, we were doing songs like No Tell Motel, Winter. We were doing Non-Stop Rock. We were doing like hard heavy metal songs. For us, it was hard rock heavy metal. And remember, I came into London when London was doing, a British pop right type of rock and roll. They were like, that British sound that wasn't happening at the time. When I came in, I was totally covered in heavy metal, dark. I was in a dark place. My content, my screams, everything was completely opposite of what London was doing. So by the time we hit Don't Cry Wolf, we already were touching all these other songs like Drop the Bomb, Let's Go Set Me Free, it's just, Fast as Light, and, working with Kim Fowler and all that. So all those memories of all those things that you hear on those songs had a lot of intensity because we were starving, but we were making records, but yet we were, also being judged by the band and, getting the attention, but yet not getting the attention. And so Don't Cry Wolf was a good time and everything, but it was also a rough time because we also had a lot of toxicity going on within the individuals in the band, you know what I mean? Like, the candy was good, the party was good, and sometimes people weren't prioritizing, you know what I mean?
Totally. But I agree.
There was just so many things going on at that time, And Kim Fowler was hypoglycemic, so he had a bit of a multiple personality thing going on. And we basically produced the album. I mean, when he was there, he was great to work with, but I think that basically that was the easiest $30,000 he ever made. But we got to work with Gene Marrow, the guy who was actually assistant engineering to Van Halen's Fair Warning at Sunset Sound. So we had him mixing this album and engineering it. He gave us a heavy bass sound. You can hear it. Just go bass. And he wanted to make a name for himself after Fair Warning because he was just assisting at that time. You know what I mean? And we were trying to make it happen, and we needed someone that can give us that sound, at least that we thought at the time was cool. And Kim Fowley brought in, that element of other connections and, little things here and there. So we had a great time recording it. I had a pleasure of sitting down with Lizzie Gray, work all those guitar things that you hear on there on those guitars because London was not playing that type of music. So in the beginning, it was a little hesitant. It was harder for Lizzie to conform to that heavy metal, but actually he was a really good, how would you say it, riff guy for London, but he had even more talent when he sat down with you and you picked his brain. I was able to get a lot of stuff with him in there. So, we had a really good time writing it. Brian West, same thing, bass player in London. I still talk to him. We go back and think about all those times working with Kim and Lizzie and in that period of time. And, we were just really young and she had a blast.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny because you said those riffs didn't really come that natural to him, but the riffs are amazing on that album. I mean, that's a straight-up metal album for sure.
Yeah, he wasn't a player like that. When we were doing that steady chugga 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 that you have to do on metal, London never did songs like that. So we had a lot of those things we had to work on those because we had to translate those live, and he wasn't used to doing that. And that's when I started bringing a second guitar player, because London in reality was Brian, me, Lizzie, and it was Bobby Marks or Bobby Eisenberg, as you can tell, and Izzy Stratton, and that was it. You know what I mean?
Whose idea was it to do? Whose idea was it to do "Oh Darling"?
That was my idea, and the only reason I did it was because I did it once live on stage in the 80's, and I had great, people loved it, and they're screaming, and the girls are going crazy, and I'm like, oh, we got to do this again. So we ended up recording it.
It's funny because, the Beatles are the Beatles, right? So, I feel like, a country artist could do a Beatles song. It's going to be incredible. Metal can do Beatles. Listen to Helter Skelter. That's just, that's an animal, you know what I mean? When Crew does it.
Well, Godzilla is a good example. They do, songs that are really cool, what is that song they did? Live and Let Die.
Live and Let Die.
Choice of the song to play, But none as far as what we did songs like 18 by Alice Cooper. We did old, like Open the Bells, Halls, you remember that song? Not obviously our version of it. So
yeah.
It was a mixture of things going on.
So this album was also an independent release, but man, it must have had some pretty serious distribution because, Punk Like Me bought the cassette here in upstate New York, so there had to be pretty decent distribution on this thing.
Well, we had some distribution on Don't Quiet Wolf, through Access Records in the UK, I remember, and then I know Roadrunner was putting some out. But you know what? Don't Quiet Wolf, the original release, I don't think we pressed that many copies. You know what I mean? I think if anything, we pressed maybe no more than 500 copies, 600 copies for that. I'm telling you. And I'm watching my copies online being sold for fucking $50 pop. You know what I mean? So, but again, I don't know because we had a pretty shady manager at the time. So I guarantee you that that's the number he gave us. You know what I mean? But we'll never know the real amount that was pressed.
Why is this not on Spotify? Who owns the masters?
I have the masters. I own the masters. I've been selling it. My album has been selling online. You know, there's been Portugal, Spain, Israel, Japan. You guys don't know about it because nobody really knows what I do. But Don't Cry Wolf right now, as I have it on Digipack with a mini 12-inch poster inside with scene photos from back in the day and remastered at Capitol Studios. And I have it out right now, man. I have it on eBay, and people they ask for that album, and they ask for Nonstop Rock, which I also just put out again through the Sing Masters and everything on Digipack. So the new pictures from back when we actually photos from the recordings that we were doing at the time for that album. You know, when we were with Mike Barney at the time. So right now I have all the merchandise basically lined up, and I have more stuff coming up that has never been heard before. So I'm just waiting for things to calm down a little bit. As you know, Lizzie Gray just passed away, and for me it was a real big blow for me to see him. So we'll go like that. So we do what I got the plans to go back and record something together. And shit just happens. You know what I mean?
Had you been in contact with him before he passed?
Well, that was the thing that I lived in Las Vegas for 4 years, man, and he lived in Las Vegas, and we never talked on the phone. He never wanted to be reached out and all that. And 4 months ago, he called me. Said to give him we were exchanging numbers between him and his sister and all that, and me and all that, and I couldn't fucking believe it. I got him on the phone and we were talking, and we got on the phone for hours. And we're gonna get together and plan to record an album called London Underground. And I got a list of songs that he wanted to do, and we're gonna go back and not say anything to anyone. I had everything all planned out with him, and we had 3 more conversations, and man, it was weird. All of a sudden, he sounded good, and the next day, the dude is dying. You know what I mean?
Right.
There's just a really, man, that was really a big blow right there. I mean, he has 2 daughters and stuff like that. So, but anyway, that's where we're at. So I'm sitting with a little bit of a mourning right now because of his passing. I didn't want to look like I'm just wanting, let's just make money on the dead.
Yeah. No, I know.
So I didn't want to, but I am going to do a cool tribute to Lizzie. I have songs that fucking people don't even know about. I have cassette boxes full of cassettes of tunes from back in the day with Tommy Amato on drums and, from Lita Ford's band back in the day. With Tony Richards and Wasp on drums. I mean, I got stuff that Lizzie and I did that never got released. It was part of that, Don't Cry Wolf, saga. And so things that never made it to the table, So I'm looking forward to eventually put those out and continue it on with Lizzie's, with Lizzie's memory, man.
Yeah, I'm sure the fans would appreciate that.
Yeah, we definitely want to do something nice, So, but yeah, man, Don't Cry Wolf was an excellent album.
So most people got exposed to London because of Decline of Western Civilization too. Now, Nadir, I haven't watched that, I don't think, since I was a kid. So before our interview, I went back and I revisited it a little bit. And I got to say, watching it as a kid versus watching it as an adult is very different. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, my thought is that, I'm glad you got to see it. we just a few years back we went in. I was called in with Penelope Ferris to go back to the Metal Years DVD box set that they put out. I don't know if you knew about that. The 4 CD DVD. And I had to go in there and do a little bit of talking and recording to do some overdubs and stuff, narrating, a little bit and all that. And went back to the Museum of Los Angeles in LACMA, where it got inducted as a classic film. And we went in there to do some sort of, a viewing for 35 millimeter, the original print. There were 600 people in there that had never seen it, man. And I was embedded in between these people, which were a lot younger than me, and I had not seen it in years. And wow, I'm so glad my kids weren't there. Holy shit, I forgot about my mouth. I was like, oh my God, I forgot this. I don't see the edited stuff. When I got in there, I was turning red. And then I got on stage and talked with Ricky, Penelope, in front of all these people, and I'm like, hey, shit, Anyway, you can catch that on YouTube on my channel. It's a LACMA. It's a huge thing. People love the fucking the film. They still do. I mean, they were clapping at the end of it all. There was just a different time. If you go back, it almost looks like these people from back in the day were doing the shit. Like you're like, wow. Look at the clothes. You're like going, oh my God, who wears their hair like that anymore? It's like it really looks really different when you look at it now in our time and age and the way the new generation is. How much more independent we were back then, stronger character, and not pussified.
What would Nadir 2019 say to Nadir 1988?
Oh, get fucking over it, you fucking pussies. Move on. Not really, man. This generation it's like, hand it over. Give it to me now. I gotta have it. I don't want to work for it. I want it handed to me, and I want it on my phone. Fucking hand him a pencil, a piece of paper, and just give him a telephone and a rotary fucking thing and say, here you go, get a job. You won't know how to do it. It has to be it has to be on a unit. It has to be on a phone with everything on it. It has an app. That's how new generation is. It's all based around a little app, and that's how they make music now. It's just amazing. I'm blown away by where everything is right now.
It's funny because a lot of it, I guess as a kid, I didn't notice that. I mean, there's some negativity in that movie, especially when you go to like Chris Holmes when he's wasted in the pool and they're asking him, is he trying to hide some pain? I mean, there's some negative stuff going on there,
Well, you got to be real. You have to be real about this. Everyone who's involved in music industry, I would have to say not everyone, but I will say, I know the reason I say everyone is because if you're in it, you're still getting shit on your body. You know what I mean? So that means that, if you were in it, you come from a home where either A, wasn't happening for you, B, your dad or mom weren't there, C, you were just, mentally fucking out of your mind, or 3, you were in a transition from being a child to an adult, or being lesbian, being non-lesbian, being whatever, and or an artist, or wanted to be an artist, and in reality, everyone that you meet in the industry has a story, you know what I mean? And it's not always pretty. But when you see it on film and you're like going there, looking at it like that, and it's a little more of an impact in your face. Like, people would go, ooh, man, look at that. He's getting drunk with his mom, and all that shit. I knew a lot of friends of mine who was in high and drunk with them. As a matter of fact, I knew friends of mine who were banging my friend's mom.
Say what?
You know what I mean?
Right.
Like the moms doing their friends. I mean, come on, and not my mom. There was so much weirdness back as a kid, but you kind of got through it, and you fight your way through it, and that's how it was. And now it's even worse now. People are crazier now. They're doing more shit than we used to do back then. We were a lot more basic back then.
Yeah, I agree. So you get to 1990, Playa del Rock. Why the name change from London to D'Priest for the band?
That actually was done through the president of the record company at the time was Noise Records, the German label. And I don't know if you remember, they had Creator, Mordred, Celtic Frost, and London. Yep. Well, they thought that the name London just had a lot of luggage. And the president of the record company, Carl Walterbach, and then president of the New York office, Bruce Kirkland, decided that it would be a good idea to change the name to D'Priest. I personally did not change the name, just to be clear, because I think there's a lot of, back then, there was a lot of old bands, and so fucking change the name of the band. And I didn't like it. I didn't care for it because it sounded like Judas Priest, you know what I mean?
Right.
And I thought of the statement, oh fuck, they're going to fucking crucify me in this shit, you know what I mean? I'm like, this is not going to be good. And then I heard it on the radio on the commercial, and I was like, this fuck doesn't sound that bad. It didn't really matter. What it did give it is a specialty, getting those copies that are rare. Because you're getting a copy with the D'Priest and a London copy, and those were limited runs of those. So that's it made it more of a specialty thing for me. And always a story, people ask me about that. But that's how it happened.
Gotcha. Play at this point with Ride You Through the Night and Heartbeat. That was pretty cool.
Right. Well, actually, Heartbeat was the one that opened the door, to be really real. I mean, it's that we didn't really have a whole lot of budget for Heartbeat, but we had a friend at the time named David Bellino, who's a guy who was getting into editing music videos. And I'll help you guys with a music video, and starting a big ass Super 16 black and white camera film, you know what I mean? So that's why it gets that cool ass look to it. But we had no lights because we didn't really have a whole lot of money for it. And walking around with a film camera, not a video camera, it requires lighting. But you saw the video. We had a lot of great cast of characters in it, and MTV goes, "Oh, we want to put it on rotation," and boom, we picked it up. I think we paid $600 for that video.
So around the same time when you got signed big there with D'Priest, I think Odin almost did the same thing where they had a name change and they became Lost Boys. I always thought that was kind of odd.
Yeah, I don't know much about how their transition was, but I know that at the time I think that they did change the name and all that, but I really didn't know much about it. I know that there were hardworking guys, and that they were trying to make it as hard as we were wanting to make through the bullshit.
I was reading this thing online, I don't know, maybe it was a few years ago, but they were saying that Axl Rose ripped off his whole look, sound, everything from Randy O. Do you buy that?
No, I think that Axl Rose didn't rip off anyone other than looking at old London pictures. Yeah. I mean, go look at my photos and my outfits, and look at him and look at his outfits. And we had a big beef at the time. So, no, Randy and all, I don't think, I don't know, man. I think that's giving him a lot of credit for that. That's beyond credit. No. No, definitely not. Because already Lizzie was already doing the whole Flyers thing with Mitch, you know what I mean? So all we were doing was just adding more color to it, and we just became a little bit harder. So I don't know. I guess it's up to a vote.
So you got to play, as we said, we won't beat a dead horse here. I know you've told these stories a million times, but you got to play with Izzy Stradlin, and you got to play with Slash and Steven Adler, all three?
No. What happened is I got to play with Steven Adler and Izzy Stratton together.
Okay.
And Lizzie Gray and myself and Brian West. Slash came in. Well, I was not done there because I got fired for a minute.
Oh.
I got fired for a minute, and I think Slash came in, and they were going to get this other singer, or they got this other guy singer, Paul Volta or something. It's a guy down the street from where we rehearsed, and no, and I wasn't there for that. But I think he lasted maybe a week or 2 weeks. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
It was quick.
So what was it like? What was it like to see those guys go to the high level of success that they did? Was that crazy or what?
I thought it was I thought they were the luckiest fucking bunch of fucking stoners in the world. Yeah, they were. I think they were the luckiest band in the world. I to this day, I think they're the luckiest band in the world, and I'm surprised that people still want to see them, and I'm glad they still do because it keeps us relevant. This genre, this music, this period of music, it's almost being phased out. You know what I mean?
Right.
And it's really obvious that by watching it on television that it's very minimal. You don't hear it very much. So for me, when Guns N' Roses or Motley Crue or any of these 80s bands that are guys that are in my fucking realm, I don't really get like, wow, boost the fucking money, but I feel like it still makes our music relevant, and it keeps the fans contacting me all the time. I mean, I get a lot of messages through eBay, through our merch, in our website.
Do you think a lot of it was luck for the bands in the 80s?
No, I think that it's just the right place at the right time, and it's just man, it was just like it was a phenomenon. It was a phenomenon. You know what I mean? It was something that I didn't expect anything like that, but more power to them. I think it's great.
It was funny for me because I always liked Guns N' Roses, but I liked Motley Crue better. I liked LA Guns better. There was a lot of bands I liked better than Guns N' Roses, and I almost just saw them all as equals. But for somehow over the years, Guns N' Roses are kind of like way up there, and everybody's underneath them.
Yeah, well, no, because I guarantee you that they were to put themselves against another band. There's a lot of good bands out there still from back in the day that can be as good as they are. So I don't think they should be looking at below them. I think they should be more happy to be still playing and people still wanting to hear you. But it's too late in the game to cop an attitude.
That's right. So what do you think of this Motley Crue tour? I see you tweet a lot of Motley Crue stuff. So what do you think about the big tour with Crue, Poison, Leopard, and Joan Jett? What do you think?
I think it's great. Like I said, they are, putting these things together, and somebody wants to buy into it. I think it's a great idea. Shit, I wish I was opening for them instead of Joan Jett at least. Yeah, man, it's more power to them. I support that. Hopefully it'll bring more fans into the music, because we're losing fans to the hip hop.
For sure. Yeah, I thought Joan Jett was kind of an odd choice. I was hoping to see Cinderella or, somebody of that nature. But, hey, she's a legend. It's all good.
Yeah, well, she'll draw females, which I look at as a plus. She'll draw that side of it where there's a lot of more girls that follow, a lot of fans. So that'd be good.
One thing about Motley Crue, so, Vince Neil leaves, I don't know, it was 91 or 92, he was out. Did you ever think about trying out?
Oh, they wouldn't have me, dude. I'm
What? Why not?
So I what at it? They got Vince Neil, man. Come on now. No, my voice is definitely up. It's not in that register of thinness, so it'd be a great compliment towards their tone, because I'm more thicker, high, but with a thicker voice under it. So yeah, it wouldn't be a match. It wouldn't be a big deal. It'd be easy. It'd be cake. But learning all the songs, oh my God.
I mean, that was a tough time. I mean, you figure, like you're talking about, we talk about the 80s, the metal was such a phenomenon, and then we get to like 91 and it was like, it was over, you know what I mean? And I don't think there was a lot of options for Motley Crue. Even with Vince, they probably wouldn't have fared well. It was just pretty much, well, you saw everybody from the 80s was blacklisted for the most part.
Well, I think it's great that there's a big interest, and it came together pretty quick, so that's killing me.
Yeah.
Maybe people will put more shows together like that, add more bands and more to it, liven it up a little more.
No doubt, no doubt. Well, Nadir, it's been a pleasure speaking with you, man. I'm glad I got to talk to you in person here or on the phone.
Thank you so much for having me.
Anything you want to tell the fans?
Yes, come on down and reach me at www.londontheband.net. We're online. I'm on Twitter in London. Some number, it's just too long to say, but if not, hit me, Nadir D'Priest, on Twitter and Instagram. And stay tuned because we've got more stuff coming up. Thank you so much for having us.
Thanks, brother.
Well, that's it for the Metalcast. We couldn't go all night.
What? Why not?
I hope you enjoyed it. For more 80s metal goodness, join me on Twitter at 80s Glam Metal 1.